interest in computer science, and then I started wanting to know about computers, trying to make up my mind that I'm going to study computer science from then. And then went to school, studied computer science, came out of school and started working with an organization. They came from the US to do database for countries in Nigeria, and then they were unable to stay within the Nigerian culture, and then they left. And then one of the guys that brought them was a Nigerian. So both of us stayed in and started a new company entirely to do payroll for state governments in Nigeria. And I could say that we did payroll for almost 7 states in this country. So then that was when I got to know about how our Nigerian government, for those who are Nigerians, our Nigerian government run our money, how they move around our money. They go and then get some FAC allocations, and then you get to see how they distribute those things. And we're writing codes we're hard coding distribution of money for some state governments and all of that. So that was one of the things one of where I said my career, trying to build payroll for state government. Working, the company was called GNL System, actually. That was how I started. And then from there, I went to NTS Africa, where we started deploying infrastructures for organizations, and then backup and disaster recovery solution for some organizations. And towards the period where I was doing those deployments of disaster recovery solutions, we were working for a company, for Dell Software Group then. So we're a partner to Dell Software Group in NTS Africa. And then I was doing a backup solution I was presenting about NetVault backup solution, and then NetVault and Convault then. And the guys from like the OEM themselves were part of that conversation, and we're talking to a bank. And the guys were like, who is this guy? When we're done, one of the guys pinged me on Teams then and said, it wasn't Teams then, it was called Skype for business or stuff like that. Yeah, it's called Skype for business, and it was Skype we're using to do that call. And then he texted me on Skype and said, who is this guy that knows our product better than us? And 2 weeks down the line, the guy invited me to Dubai. And the story changed from there. And then I was hired at Dell Software Group. And that was how I joined Dell. And then I started representing Dell, started deploying the backup and disaster recovery solution. Remember, I was programming like a few years off of my life, right away from school, trying to write some programs to do payroll programs and stuff like that. And that completely pivoted my career path into deployment of infrastructure and deployment of a disaster recovery. Then we're deploying some, I can't remember what that infrastructure was called, but it's a backup appliance. Then we deploy the backup appliance and then deploy the software on it. And then we started deploying asset management and case system management solutions from Dell Software Group. And at some point, there was a merger between Dell and EMC, and the company I was working for as Dell Software divested and became Quest. So that was how I became Quest, and I was the only Dell Software Group person in Africa. So then, maybe apart from South Africa. So I was the only person left, and then I started running Dell for the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa, apart from South Africa. So it became Quest, and I started running Quest for the whole of the Sub-Saharan Africa. I practically had traveled every part of the Sub-Saharan Africa selling and deploying those softwares, not just selling them. So, and from there, you could see the trajectory a bit. Because I was deploying and I was able to get in front of customers, have a conversation, and I then go back and deploy them. And from there, I started selling those products. So I went away from being the guy who deploys to the guy who sells. So that was how I went from deploying them to selling them, and I started running the business for the whole of Africa, and moved on from running the business for Africa. And they acquired One Identity, and then I started dealing with One Identity. That brought me into security as well. So One Identity is actually an identity and asset management and security solution. So I started selling security, started selling two-factor authentication and all of those things. And while I was doing that, in fact, prior to when I was doing working with NTS Africa, I had actually gotten some Microsoft certifications. And as usual, when we were younger, you need to just get all those Microsoft certifications. You need to just get your hands dirty with a few things, and all of the things you can go with IT. Get as many certifications as you can. So all of those SQL Server, Active Directory Management, all of those MCC, I can't remember all of those in long ago, like 15, 17 years ago, trust me. So moved up from there, from just saying that was how I ran the Quest and One Identity business for 6 years before I joined Microsoft about 4 years ago. So I currently work for Microsoft as a senior specialist for cloud and AI platform. I joined as a specialist for Microsoft, what they call the cloud infrastructure. So I was doing Azure, the business of Azure, cloud infrastructure, and all of that. So I now do the cloud, and I lead the cloud and AI platform for Microsoft for most of their enterprise customers, for Microsoft. So that is where I am, and that's my journey. And today we are in a different space, right? Where we're in a place where the conversation is different. Trust me, I can tell you that for free. With the things AI is doing currently in the world, with the things that is happening with AI and all of that, it's a completely different trajectory, right? So we all know, we probably might not have enough time to deep dive and look through everything that's happening in the world, but we're probably going to do an overview of what's happening. And maybe we can schedule another time, and then we can go deep and see what actually is in for the future. But where we are at today is an amazing journey, just not for me, for everyone who has been in IT, anyone who's followed IT for the past. I can tell you that I have mentors who's followed IT for the past 40, 30 years. And if they tell their story and their trajectory and how they even at some point were opposing ATM machines and card, let alone where we are at today, that we have Apple Pay and all of those other pays that you don't even need to swipe card. You just need it for your phone and just tap your phone on a device and you made a payment and stuff like that. So the IT trajectory is changing, and a whole lot of things are changing, and you will see, you know, if you're in this space, you will see over time that is going to completely revolutionized with time, because what is happening, we're just scratching the face with what is happening with AI and all of that. So that's a brief introduction of who I am and what I do.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. That's a very, very interesting journey that you share with us. Okay, so we already know the house rules. So before we hand over to our speaker to continue with what we have today, if you have any questions, you just have to wait to the end of the section so you can ask a question, or you can ask them in the chat. So our speaker, I can read it out to our speaker, then he will show the questions. So
Sorry, okay, you guys have your house rule, but probably my rule will be different. Okay, I like an interactive conversation. So I don't like to wait for the end of my conversation for you to ask me questions. Ask me questions, you can pivot our conversation, and we'll take it up that way. I love to have an interactive environment. I'm not good at monologues, right? So I'll probably be asking questions. I would like people to talk to me. I like to stop me. I like people to query whatever I'm saying. And we get to that. So I don't like to stick to house rules where they are doing presentations. Even if I'm on stage making presentation, I like to throw questions at people and let people have a conversation. So it's going to be all conversational. Like I said, we're talking about AI. We're scratching the surface. We can learn from anybody and learn from everybody. So it's all going to be conversational. Happy to have people have a conversation while we are at this. Happy to have people stop me. Happy to have people talk. Happy to have people contribute to what I'm saying as well. And then we can have a good time. So that is how I think it should work for me.
Let's bend the rule then. Let's bend the rule, Sonny.
I'm bending the rule. Probably you know me that I like to bend rules, right? All right. So guys, please, right? This is a different person. This is all good, man. Let's bend the rules. If that's the rule, house rules, yeah, let's bend the rules. Let's get to see what I've got, and then let's have a conversation, and then we'll learn from each other, and we also, trust me, you will benefit or learn a little more from what we're doing today. Okay. So permit me to share my screen, and at the point where I share my screen, I might need to put off my camera just because I'm sharing my screen. I don't want to have so much drags. So I'll turn off my camera and I'll share my screen with bandwidth. I don't want so much drags with bandwidth. Just maybe thumbs up if you could see my screen. Let me put this in presentation mode. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, so yes, so we say unlocking the topic I was told that I will need to discuss today is unlocking the opportunities in generative AI. I think there's a part of it that says LLMs, and I kind of leave LLMs because LLMs is still part of Gen AI. So everything that is here is still the same thing we'll be talking about, right? LLM is specifically to the language models and how large they can be or how small they can be. So I kind of just, from my own perspective, LLM is part of the Gen AI. So everything is under the same thing. So we can have a conversation around all of it and have a good understanding of what the story around every single one of them is. So exploring innovative potentials in artificial intelligence, that's what I think is more important for us. What are the opportunities we see? What are the potentials we see? What do we see? Do I actually do I see this? Do you see it? What's the opportunity you self see? How do we benefit from what AI is today in the world, right? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. By the way, how much time do I have? Very important. Or is it an open-ended time? We just keep going.
No, you have 1 hour. So practically you have like 40 minutes, but we can add an additional 10 minutes on top because some people joined late.
Okay. Okay, so we'll have just an hour. So at top of the hour, say 5 o'clock, I should stop. Okay, fantastic. That's good enough. That's enough time to talk. That's enough time to learn something new. All right, so just for introduction, right? We all know what generative AI is. It's the system that creates new content, including text, images, code, transformation, creative processes, and all of that, right? We know what AI is all about. It's all about we bringing in new images, changing our way we work, using codes, text, and even the way we program and all of that. There are people that are specialized in building those language models today, right? We know that's all AI is all about. Things that just change the way we talk, the way we think, the way we makes work a lot more efficient and all of that. So what has it done within the industry? Where do we see AI having effect today? Well, right. So we can see that it has revolutionized industry, boosting efficiency, creativity, enabling personalized user experience and all of that. And if you look at it, you will see completely that the industries have changed, right? Today, we can barely, if you watch a video, you will probably be saying, is this real or is this AI? Those are questions that come. We have all of those questions. You need to know what is real and what is not real. You need to, deep fakes are becoming so everywhere. Security is becoming so important. So a whole lot of things are not just the way they used to be. So a lot of industry has been revolutionized. A lot of industry has been changed. A lot of things has happened. Creativity is changed. The way we create things, the way we code is, the way we program is changed. Like when I was telling you, I started as a programmer. I was writing codes I was writing, Python was there then, but I was writing core Java code, JavaScripts and all of that. People don't write those things now. You do Python, you do Django, you do all of those new things, front end and back end things now. But then we're doing core databases, core Oracle. You write on black screen to write Oracle scripts, right? And then SQL Server came in with all of the codes that you need to do. So we see that those processes have changed. So AI has impacted a whole lot of industries, from your agricultural industry, from your healthcare industry, to your financial industry, to the creativity industry, and all of those things. With the advent and the arrival of AI, we can see people become a lot more creative, those that make comedies and all of that. And it's benefited a whole lot of organizations. Things are now completely automated. You can quickly scale things. You can improve customer engagement and improve strategy, pull out understanding and stuff. And I'm not going to lie to you, because AI is everywhere. There is barely every kind of work that we do that does not include AI now. People, you will see as we proceed how people are using AI and how AI is changing things for organization and industry, and it's become mandatory to some organizations that you probably will use AI. And I'll show you. Let's even look at it, because while I was doing this, I ran into a very detailed research by KPMG telling us what organizations are doing, right? And from them, they are seeing that organizations are investing, and they would like to invest a lot more in AI within the next 12 months, within the next 2 months. And because of what is happening, there is a whole lot of deep investment that people are putting in, right? And if you think about it again, there is also some media skepticism. People are saying, oh, this AI is coming to take up our jobs. AI is coming to take up what we're doing. Businesses, leaders are, some people are publishing negative things about AI, how to halt it. But the truth remains that nobody's saying AI is not come to stay. AI is come to stay. So because it's come to stay, leaders are very confident in strategic and operational values, and they intend to make sizable investment to scale across their companies. It's not just scaling small, it's to scale across the companies. So, right? So, and they know that half of the companies have moved past the initial phase today of experimental. 2 years ago, we're experimenting Copilot. We're doing, try to get to use it. We're experimenting 2-3 years ago, we're experimenting ChatGPT. Before then, it has to be Google or Wiki for you to do your research, right? But half of the company has gone past that. They're now focused on implementing in a company-wide environment, right? Only if you expect to see measurable ROI in months. But if you're an organization that is investing, you need to see your return as well. Okay? So the ability for you as an individual to quantify the value at stake is rapidly becoming the strategic point to help set up the pace for change and innovation that is in Gen AI. So what are these opportunities? Your ability to come out and say, oh, this is what is at stake. This is how this will shape and transform and direct the investment parts, and will get better ROI. These are the opportunities that organizations worldwide are looking for today. People who can come in and tell me that this is actually the right direction to play. But however, leaders have invested. So 95, 91%. These numbers are very, very important for me. That was actually why I pulled this. This is a KPMG. This part is actually KPMG. So it's not my data. This is KPMG data. They did this. This report came, I think it was March or May this year. That was when they got this. And I know that they will review this in another 1 year, and the result would have changed. But 91% of leaders believe that AI will help the organization run a better business in the next 3 years. Trust me, I say in the next 6 months. Nobody's waiting for 6 years anymore. 68% of executives intend to invest between 50 to 250 million in Gen AI over the next 12 months. This is fact. And this 68% will probably increase to about 90% at the moment. So here lies in the opportunity. Let me pull up. I don't see the screen, just in case anybody has do I need lesser or pen? Anyone? You could see my screen, right? Sonny, I need you to be unmuted so you can be talking to me. I like to hear people talk to me. I don't like monologues.
Yeah, I can still see your
Yes,
screen.
you can see it.
Okay, and then you can see
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, fine. Please admit people. I can see people are trying to join in. Okay, so this is where an opportunity lies for us. Like, what are these opportunities? And then we'll unpack all of these opportunities and what things needs to do. If 68 executives can invest $50,000 to $250,000 in Gen AI within the next 5 years, how much of that is going to come to me? How much of that, how do I position myself to be able to acquire a little bit of this? And this is organization. And I trust you, this minimum any one of them could think about spending is $50,000 is even small. We're talking about millions of dollars. This number is definitely changed. I can tell you from experience, from the work that we do today, I know how much enterprise organizations are looking to invest in AI. $50,000 or 50 million to 250 million, which is reasonable. Yes, comes to it, right? 50% of companies are scaling Gen AI, but have not yet established an ROI path. 31% of them expect to do so within these 6 months. So what are the opportunities you see right here? So this was actually what prompted me to say, okay, here is another opportunity. So if we have about 50% of organizations worldwide, and this research was done with over 7,000 organizations from KPMG worldwide, okay, and they have almost 14 million people answer this request. So if you're looking to have an opportunity, so this is not just we can zero it to our country, but I'm talking worldwide here. So if you have an opportunity that there is people looking to scale AI and people don't even know how the return on investment is going to come, there is an opportunity. There lies an opportunity. There lies what we need to do. If executives have an opportunity to invest between $50 to $250 million in AI within the next 12 months, there lies an opportunity. What are you doing? What are you going to do? What are the top 5 skills you're looking for? Where do you need to position yourself? What do you need to do? What are you seeing? So there is that opportunity. So we need to look at that. And then you can see that company envision the next phase of their AI. They're looking at what do they want? A strategic planning. 19% of these companies are looking at it within their journey, strategic plan. 25 looking to scale the technology. 25% looking at R&D or experimentation, and then 31% looking to establish an ROI, looking to return on the investment. Because if I invest $50,000, how is it going to? What am I going to get out of it? What do I need to get out of it? What are the things that I need to get out of it? So this is where organizations are looking, and this is where the opportunities lie. So let's take a look at a strategic guide to this Gen AI adoption and all of that. What do I need to do to be strategically ready for it? First things first, I need to have a vision and objective. What are the objectives? So somebody like me, like Sonny or Ben or anybody like me that comes in and say, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to harness the AI and the availability of AI, right? Align my business goals and objectives. So the first thing I need to do is to know what exactly are the vision of this organization. What do you want to do? How do you want to bring AI into what you're doing? Organization must ensure that generative initiatives are supported with their business objective, like cost reduction, innovation acceleration, expansion of your workforce, efficiency of your workforce, and all of that. So what is your business objective? You need to come with an idea to be able to outline the business objective of organization. So if you've outlined the business organization, for instance, if you're a financial organization, what do I need to do? How do I need to service my customers? If I am a government, how do I need to manage maybe public relations for my country? If I am an educational institution, how do I need to measure what my students are doing? So by aligning the business goals, you need to also find and define success metrics. So what are the outputs I'm expecting? What comes out of it? If this is done, what comes out of it? All right. What are the key metrics? What are the return on investment? Like I've said initially, where opportunities lies. How am I going to adopt? What is the adoption rate? If I am using AI that people are going to use, if I'm using tools, AI tools, what are the adoption rate, customer satisfaction? You understand? How do I measure these critical AI successes? What are my long-term objectives and plan and short-term plans? How do I start? Where do I start from? So this is the first thing we need to do to be able to actually harness the AI strategic guide points. You need to define what are my long-term goals, what are my short-term goals, what are the key metrics that I need to get off of AI, and what am I going to, how am I going to do it? So for you as an individual who's coming to an organization to offer this kind of solution, what do you do for them? So you need to start looking strategically, align with their business, but you need to now look at what exactly is the use cases that these organizations need to do. Because AI and what we're doing is actually meeting a use case. What is exactly, what do I need? Imagine Ben and Sons. If I'm Ben and Son and I sell laptop. For instance, I tell people those days I used to sell server and laptops in the cloud, right? So if I sell laptops in the cloud, so what is the use case? What do I need to know about my customers and how do I need to affect my customers? So what exactly, so it is left on just where the opportunity is. That is a strategic goal that you need to understand. What is this use case that my customers are going to do that will be able to help them become either efficient, become a lot more profitable, or become the ability to reach a larger audience. So whatever their use case, you need to identify what we call the top AI use cases for these organizations. We would have heard everybody talk about high impact use cases, right? These are things that you need to look around for AI and innovation. What is the high impact use case for any organization you are talking to? So what are the opportunities that lie within these use cases? Maybe content creation, and I picked out some 5 high impact use cases that this is just a generic, and then we can probably dive down into some very key organizations or key industries and see what these use cases is going to be. Maybe content automation, right? Content creation, generative AI, automate content, create for marketing, communication, increasing efficiency and creativity. That is one high impact use case. Marketing, brand visibility. How do I get visible? How do I get people look at it? AI help us with chatbot, enhance customer service by providing instant personalized response to customer inquiries. If you're building chatbots, you're building bots, you're building chatbots, you're building some call them all kinds of names, agentic AI and all of those things. You build agents that help people. You build agents that respond to people query and all of that. So you have high-powered customer service is another high-powered use case. So if you're a financial organization, how are you driving your customer into your organization? You can look at data-driven insight. As an executive, what you need to do is your ability to make decisions, right? And you're making decisions based on data. You're not making decisions based on sentiments, on how you feel. So high impact use case should be use case that will drive large decision that could transform your organization. So a use case that will be that a generative AI can help you look at some large data sets and be able to pinpoint decision points between these large data sets. Okay, be able to create actionable insight, inform business, help inform business decision, help inform customer centric decision, product innovation, right? So you're looking at how you are able to take a product to market, your time to value, your time to market, your time to actually bring this product to life for organization. So these are use cases that we're looking at today that you will look at and say these are high impact use cases. So top high impact use cases, there are a whole lot of use cases. So if you're talking to an organization, if you're sitting with an organization and you're trying to understand what is happening within the AI field, what are their strategy, and you're helping them to draw a strategic guide to them to leverage AI, you need to look at what use cases are you going to look at. So you probably draw high impact use cases, and depending on the organization you're talking to, depending on what the organization is doing, depending on things that you're seeing with the organization, you need to pinpoint what their use case is and bring their use case into being. And trust me, you all know that with all the AI tools we have today, these are easy things. You can do some things and pull up these kind of use cases immediately. So we'll look at 3 organizations, for instance, and then we'll look at what are the values and what are this potential that we see with this organization as use cases that you bring to them. Look at the healthcare industry as our first example, right? So you can have an agentic AI pharmacare and healthcare industry. I know offshore of today, in fact, this was one of the reasons I picked out this as number 1, because there lies a bigger opportunity. I know people, if a few of us are very familiar with local farmers, you can hear somebody talk about our dog. This is a real-time chatbot, an agent that can be your health companion. So in healthcare today, people are actually doing real-time agents that becomes health company. I have a company called Aisha. They're building some, if anybody have heard about them, they're building some agentic AIs that can help you not go to a doctor, share your symptom, and the chatbot or the agent will be able to tell you what you could do. And within those agentic environments, you'll be able to also leverage an assistant of a doctor. You can tell him to talk to a doctor, and you're chatting with a doctor, a real doctor. So there are top use cases within the pharma industry, right? We could look at them like AI-driven diagnosis. We know about Watson from IBM, right? What IBM does is with Watson and the way they are looking at Watson will also help you with diagnosis. We know that with the advent of AI, there are also some new tech tools now that you can use, and you can dictate cancer 5 years or 6 years down the line, and they can text you abroad. So they are AI-driven diagnosis. These are some kind of use cases. These are the opportunities that are you able to build these kind of use cases? We know there are people that are deeply building these tools, and they have made them available. You can talk about personalized treatment plan, right? For instance, the iShare that I talked about, where I know people that are using it in country today for people in Nigeria. You have personalized treatment plan where you can speak to an agent and you'll be able to study your lifestyle, and it become a lifestyle companion off of your hands. Maybe you're wearing a wearable or off of your device that will personalize your lifestyle, tell you when you're over consuming some kind of food, tell you when you're consuming some kind of medications, tell you when next you need to restock your medications. It helps you personalize your lifestyle, treatment plans, and all of those things. So you can look at other use cases like drug discovery and clinical trial optimization. This happened at the point of, I think it was COVID, where we see what was that? The vaccine rolled up faster because some technology was used to optimize the trials. Supply chain and automation, real-time patient monitoring, AI-powered administrative efficiency, and ethical AI and compliance. So these are some kind of use cases that you see farmers, that you see healthcare industry want to bring to bear. So these are some kind of things you see within AI that are opportunities that lie for us that we need to unlock. How do we unlock this opportunity? How do we need to get to provide these use cases for these people and ensure that the healthcare industry is outside of book an appointment with a doctor, find time to book an appointment, and then find time for your appointment and go. There are countries today that you can't walk into a hospital and have an appointment. You need to book an appointment. You need to find time to book an appointment. So if you book an appointment, if you don't have the appointment, you won't get in there. But with all of these things, healthcare is become a lot more modernized. And you could see that because there is an arrival of AI, you probably might be able to get the diagnosis, get your drug, get everything done without even leaving your home, and in making life a lot more efficient. So these are opportunities that we see that we can unlock within AI. So if you look at, again, let's think about finance. These are major AI use cases. So for the financial institution, for those of us who, and finance is always everywhere now, like I said, we don't need to, I know at the time where I have people who are also looking at who wrote articles that you can find on internet today that AI, ATM cards will not work in countries like Nigeria and all of that because of how archaic we were then. But now we're even talking about how payments are done without any card or anything. So if you look at the financial institution, what are the use cases within the financial institutions? Number one, fraud detection, right? So these are like the high impact use cases that you probably will see. These are opportunities where you will see to speak to the financial institution. You could look at fraud detection. You could look at marketing and lead generation. You could look at credit underwriting. You could look at data privacy, financial forecasting, credit analysis, risk management, and fraud detection. Okay, I've talked about fraud as number one, and maybe risk management. So in the financial industry today, I have seen people coming up with real life experience, trying to understand how the financial institutions work, how personalized assistant managers, AI agents who will look at my trend of transaction, who will look at my trend of activity, who will look at my trend of interaction with outside world or with other network, and then they will tell me how to invest. They will tell me how to generate leads for the banks, and they'll tell me how to either manage my expense. In fact, I have an account that look at my transaction over time and tell me I'm overspending in this place. I can manage my expense in this. This is personalized AI use cases that someone has built into those kind of apps that helps people manage their finances. They become a direct financial manager for you. They will tell you all of your trend. And I have an experience right now where I have a card that I used to shop somewhere outside of Nigeria. And after a while, they told me that, oh, they are noticing some anomalies and my card has been disabled. And a credit is not letting come into my account. But it's something I have purchased off of a site. And for some reason, I didn't pay for it. But my bank has been able to notice that I'm no longer in this part of the world. I'm here because my IP is changed, and this transaction shouldn't be happening. So they have to ask me to permit that or not to permit that. But before now, that credit would have gone. I've sat in a banking hall in Nigeria. Apologies, at least I live in Nigeria. That's why I'm saying this. I've sat in a banking hall in Nigeria, and right in front of me, I've seen debits of dollars go away from my account in a banking hall. And I'm telling the banker, see, oh, they are debiting my account. Can somebody block this thing right now? But with the arrival of AI, you could see that these tools are there now, that there is a notice between where you are and where you're not. And fraud detection is a use case that we can explore. That lies a whole lot of opportunity. And there's still so many more opportunities within that environment for people to do. Personalized banking experience, where your banking experience, where your agent, your AI agent is able to tell you how you can personalize your banking experience. I see today that a whole lot of banks within Nigeria are coming to us. I mean us in quote, Microsoft, this is not my work, are coming to us and say, oh, we have these use cases. How do we bring these use cases into our mobile banking application, into our everyday lifestyle banking applications? So you see how this is even credit underwriting. People borrow money and you'll be able to know, is this person, based on this person's transaction history, you will do analysis of that right here and there, and you know, is this person able to take this credit? If I give him this loan, will he be able to pay back or will he not be able to pay back? And you look at risk management. So you can do analysis of all your risk management. These are some form of use cases we can look at, top high impact use cases. There are organizations that are not looking at this. If you come and bring such opportunity to this organization, you will be able to see that you have an opportunity to unlock and how they use how you can use these AI solutions to actually better the way these organizations operate. We could take a brief of farm, agriculture. We all eat food. With AI, you could see that you'll be able to look at your crop management. You could look at the soil texture, use drones to monitor your crops, use tractors to monitor the temperature, the weather conditions, when to plant, when not to plant, how to plant, monitor everything. And you can see that produce will be your produce will yield a lot more than usual. All right. Are we following me? I've been talking for almost 30 minutes now alone and it's looking strange, but it's okay. I understand that this is not a live audience. So, but are we following what I'm saying, right? Any questions so far? Anybody have any question?
At least I'm following, and they are alive. I believe they are all alive.
Okay, good to know that someone is following. Good, thanks, Winner. So guys, it's revolutionizing the way we walk, the way we interact, the way we every single one of our activities is happening, the way we live. And there is a whole lot of opportunities. Like I said, we're just scratching the face of this. There's a whole lot of opportunities that are in there for people. There's a whole lot of opportunities that are in there for us to unlock. There's a whole lot more that we can do. How much are we using? For instance, AI will help us. Maybe if you have 100 square meters, you'll be able to manage that 100 square meter to produce enough products that you'll be able to ship out. So this is where we'll see. These are the strategic guidelines to AI. So you need to, first things first, you need to understand what your objectives are, right? You understand the company's objective, look at the use cases that they need to do, bring out high impact use cases for the organizations. And then the next you probably might be looking at is their infrastructure readiness. All of these tools are running off of an infrastructure environment. So you look at their infrastructure readiness. And in infrastructure readiness, I've tried to put everything that AI infrastructure works around in this single slide so that we don't have so many things. So in infrastructure, I will look at your databases. We'll talk about your data and data security. We'll look at your actual platform and the hardware that runs this. We'll look at how you integrate to other systems seamlessly. And then we'll look at your technology capability and assessment that you need to do to be able to operate operate a scalable infrastructure for AI. So from all that we talk about, right, data is key. Data is very critical to all of these things. Your data quality, this is where your data quality, your data analysis, your data, your data warehousing come into place. For instance, if we talk about like Microsoft, I try not to bring in anything Microsoft into this place. You could look at Microsoft Fabrics, for instance, a data analysis platform where you can plug in all your data and you'll be able to, from Power BI to all the analysis you can get off of your data. You need to ensure high quality data and robust security around those data for generative AI deployment. So you need to be sure of the data that you are bringing in. Okay, so three things, like I've said, three things you need to do. The first thing will be the opportunity we need to unlock. The first thing will be the strategy, the organization vision, what they want to achieve, and then you map out all of those with their ROI. Then you look at the next thing will be what are the use cases you can do. You pull out actual use cases, and then you look at the infrastructure that you need to plug these AI use cases into. So if you look at the infrastructure, you can look at the scalable cloud platform. You leverage cloud platform that will enable efficient handling of your AI workloads. You talk about GPUs, your infrastructure that needs to run on AI. How are you, which platform are you using? And nobody's going to buy server now. You're probably leveraging some Microsoft SKUs or some AWS SKUs or some infrastructure that you need to put AI on. All right. So this is where some cost is, because running AI and running all of those models are a little bit expensive. I think I have some estimates of an organization trying to run an AI use case, looking at the architecture that was pulled out. The cost of running those use cases within 1 year for an agentic AI use case for business analysts, an agentic business analysts becomes so expensive. And the company was like, oh, how about this? But if you look at the return on investment over a time, maybe from 3 years, you will see that it's worth it. And then you look at integrating an enterprise system. For instance, those systems, there are legacy systems today. And within the data, for instance, I will use the Microsoft Fabric solution, for instance. So within that Microsoft Fabric solution, you could see that you could leverage what we call something that is mirroring. So you'll be able to integrate seamlessly to existing enterprise systems. And maybe afterwards, now you'll be able to either look at whether you need to modernize what you're doing. You now gradually move away from your legacy system into a modern system where you can now seamlessly run your full-scale enterprise AI solutions. So after you've talked about your infrastructure and infrastructure is ready, you need to actually look at the people. So these are the opportunities that we see in there. You look at the people, the talent, your skilled employee, you look at your ethical AI practices, and then the internal champions that will promote AI. Whether you like it or not, within the organizations today, to be able to deploy AI in any organization, you must need somebody like is the AI hero or the champion of that organization who pulls other people into what you're doing. So you need to upskill employees, you need to invest in employee training on AI tools and prompting engineering and boost organization AI. You can look at the ethical practice of AI, and irrespective of what we talk about, you could see that ethics is very important. We'll look at some ethical practices in AI. Oh wow, I'm running out of time. Just about 8 minutes to go. Okay. So just to run fast, we know about talent and skills and opportunity. So if you're able to bring people together to train people in AI, if you're able to bring people together to either give people understanding of what AI is all about, maybe educate people, you remove one of the major blockers to AI adoption. And one of the things that, whether we like it or not, and I've said that initially, organizations are ready to adopt AI in full scale. So afterwards, you look at after training people, you look at what are the skills that you need to develop in AI. Top 5 AI skills. This is not mine. This is not me. This is actually, I think this is Copilot trying to tell me the top 5 AI skills, and I refuse, and I try to change it a bit. This is me using AI to talk about AI. So that's just what I'm telling you here, right? This slide completely is not mine. So I looked at for the top 5 AI skills that we're talking about today. Everything that is AI, what are the top 5 skills? To my surprise, it talked about prompt engineering. I know I've done prompt a ton over and over and over. Prompting is become a skill right now. So someone to be able to craft effective prompt for an LLM, for a single large language model, your ability to craft prompt, and your ability to write something to maybe a ChatGPT or a Copilot to be able to send a response is now a skill that people are requiring. Machine learning and deep learning, these are the foundations of AI. These are all skills that are relevant in the AI industry today. You look at your RAG, your augmentative generative retrieval augmented generations. You look at your ability to do chatbots and ground in internal data. These are very, very important AI skills that are required. Multimodal AI, text, image, your ability to take a text, image, mix them, integrate them to reach workflows, develop workflows off of them. These are all top 5 AI skills. You can look at your ML, your AI infrastructure, your scale, your ability to scale, deploy AI infrastructure, and also secure AI infrastructure. These are top skills that are top 5 AI skills that are required. So this is where the opportunity is, where you're learning how to use this technology, or you are learning how to build this technology. These skills are required for you, and these are all of the things that you need to do within the space of the opportunities we're trying to unlock within AI. So as much as we are also looked at all of the skills, look at all the strategies, and if you look at it, there are 3 main things that I've talked about when it comes to unlocking the strategic guide to unlocking an AI potential. Number 1, like I've said, 3 major one of them: objectives and the goal. What are the use cases? And then the infrastructure readiness and skill is the 4th one. And that is basically where I will draw it. And then we'll look at, as much as we're deploying AI, what is governance and ethical foundations in AI? Very critical and important. Irrespective of what we do, governance and ethics is important. It is important that we look at the AI governance, the AI frameworks. We need to be sure that is important to govern the AI. The AI frameworks of fairness, transparency, accountability are all put in place. You ensure that a human-centric AI design is there, and then there is a competitive identity through ethics. Okay, so just to run through these so that we don't look at that, we'll look at the 5 principles of ethical AI. These 5 principles cut across every single AI platform you're going to be building. Number 1 is the principle of transparency. You know that your AI system will need to provide clear explanation of decision-making processes for stakeholders to understand. So you must be transparent with AI that you're building, and as much as it's transparent, you need to be fair and mitigate biases and ensure that everybody is included, whether it's the black, the blue, the red, the LGBTQ, the straights, the he, them, he, Hausa, Igbo, everything. You need to be fair. You need to take away all forms of biases. And as much as you're taking away all forms of, a human being must be held accountable for an outcome of, responsible for an outcome of an AI, either error or remediation, or anything that happened, somebody must be held accountable for it. So these are the 5 critical principles. These principles are very crucial for anything you're doing. And then privacy and protection. No matter the data you use, your large language models, all of those things, no matter the data you use, they must be protected by law. And you must make sure that you adhere to these principles. You adhere to all of the principles that are required for you to adopt AI per country, per region, per environment. It's important to adhere to these key AI principles. And then there are risks and challenges that come with all of this. You know, whether we look at it on, sometimes algorithms are biased. I've seen situations whereby I've seen AI going away from what it's asked to do. I've seen bots and robots doing what they are not meant to do. And there is also data privacy leak. Sometimes we know that people are also involved with all of this, but because people are involved, you might have access to some, because you're actually building a model and trying to test and training a model, you are able to have access to data that you're not meant to have access to. That is another challenge. Data privacy is a challenge, but your ability to hold people accountable is important. Okay, so major risks and challenges we see is misuse of AI technology, and we've seen that. We've seen where AI technology is being misused. You're seeing where people are being spying people's privacy because of that. We could see data privacy challenges. We've seen algorithm bias and risks where AI is not, you are not able to do something because you're from some part of the world. But these are the challenges we've seen, and these challenges are being looked into. And you could talk about regulatory and internal challenges. So these are the few risks of that we see within AI and the challenges that are within AI. So in all of this, knowing all of this, what are the best practices for responsible AI? So if you have the opportunity, if we're unlocking all of the opportunities in AI, what are the best practices that we need to adopt? Number one is ethical AI frameworks. You must ensure that you have all the ethical AI frameworks, governance and oversight, bias audit and explainability, data privacy, and human oversight. So once you build in this, you have the best practice. So no matter what you do with the organization, no matter what you do as an individual, no matter what you program or do, ensure that you have these best practice. Once you put this best practice into play, you will be coming out with a transparent and bias-free AI framework that people can adopt and get it. So just to shut it up, I know I have extra 10 minutes, so to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes, how do we get started? Where do we start? How do we start with AI? All of this that we've done, how do we start? Where is our starting point? But sometimes we'll say, oh, start small, do pilot, measure your outcome, scale successful pilot, put an iterative learning approach into what you've done. Expand proven generative AI. So this is where we start. You start small. But like I said, organizations have gone past starting, right? We have gone past the phase of starting. And then you can do, once you have done starting, let me come here so that I look at all of this. Let's look at these phases of capturing value within AI and how you start. You start with the initial phase of enabling, right? So that is where you put AI, try telling people about AI. You can define the high value use cases, the model, deploy the operating models, integrate AI into your guardrails, and then invest in AI literacy. So that's knowledge, enabling people. And then you move into this phase of embedding, where you embed AI into your work. Okay, so where you embed AI into all of the work that you do. For enterprise, you align those strategies into your KR and AI. You define values and investment. You redesign your operation models, and then you reshape the workforce. So you build AI into that, and then some functions are embedded. For instance, let me take an organization like a bank in Nigeria, for instance. This by Copilot. So Copilot start helping them with become a lot efficient with their work. When you finish, you embed AI into your work. So if you have a meeting, for instance, you turn on transcription. At the end of the meeting, there is a meeting note that is given to you. Maybe you can get that with ChatGPT or Fireside and all of that. So you pull in all of those things, and you are able to give your meeting note, take actions, give actionable things that you need to do. But at some point, you now have to evolve. You now have to build AI into your products. So organizations have moved past this enablement. They are into these phases. Some organizations are into these phases where they embed AI into their work. And some are going into the actual evolution of AI where enterprise will define an ecosystem strategy, where a bank, for instance, will build AI into their banking app, and their banking app will be able to have interaction with the customer, make analysis of what their customers is doing and their customer interaction, and then pull those information back into the bank and help the bank make a decision, right? So a situation whereby an ecosystem is now defined, a model value for the ecosystem is now defined. Those are the evolution that we see in AI. So this is where organization gets started. This is where organization starts from, and this is where it ends. However, in IT, like we know, nothing is an end. It's always a loop. So you reiterate. So we go to a place where you now need to promote continuous agile changes, because this is what AI brings about in all that we do. So you are able to deploy AI system across an ecosystem, compete using domain models, compete using ecosystem data, and combine cloud with AI optimization chips. This is where AI becomes revolutionary. And that is where companies come in with maturity into adopting AI. And this is where we see the value. And these are the things we need to unlock. And these are the things we need to get into. These are the opportunities we see in AI. So wrapping up, once you have done everything you need to do, like I said, you need to now look at what are the key metrics and next steps that you need to do. Who is your target market? So you set out key metrics for generative AI, track adoption rate, cost savings, customer engagement and interaction, speed to measure your Gen AI success. So after you've deployed, after you've done those things, what is my return on investment after I've done all of this? What have I been able to achieve? You will track your adoption rate if people are using all of those this AI, this opportunity that you've unlocked. You track the adoption rate. Look if you've been able to either save cost or if you're able to either make any good, clear change from all you've done. And then set close actual roadmaps and milestone. Coming back here again, what are the within an organization? Where are we at? Set out roadmaps. Set out what you need to achieve within some time, and then take out your actionable next steps to initiate some generative AI use cases. So for every single one who is here today, who's listening today, these are practical places where I see you can unlock some opportunities in AI. All right, you can look at where do I play in, what part of this generative AI space do I continue to play in, what opportunity do I see? And for me, I see opportunity a lot within the scaling, within the infrastructure part, within AI infrastructure, and within people developing these use cases. So these are opportunities I see, and these are places where I think we should be able to adopt and effect changes as much as possible within organization. So thank you for having me today, and hopefully I've been able to let you learn some new things. I try as much as I can to keep this within the time, and I'll be happy to take questions from now. Thank you. Oh, I stopped sharing. There are questions. Oh, 3 hands are up already. Sure, I'll go back to sharing my screen. Yeah, so please go ahead. Number one, who is the moderator? Please help me check the guys that hands are up and let's have some conversation. No.
So, yeah, thank you so much, very much, Ben. We really appreciate your time. The experience is evident, right? We can see it. And well, for me, I want to just reiterate on some of the point that you made. This session is very, very much key. I understand. I know that the interns currently are working towards their group presentation, and part of that, for that presentation, the ask is for them to present their use case as an enterprise, right? How do you use your research, whatever work you are doing, to solve an enterprise problem? And hearing you speak on the impact of AI, and how and where we can embed AI, and where impacts and success can be seen from leveraging AI in the enterprise space. For me, I believe this is quite a key information for them to leverage. So please, this is the opportunity. You have someone that have decades of enterprise experience. I think it's okay if I also share it. Ben also is going to be one of the judges to judge your presentation. So for people that joined, this is like an expo to you, an opportunity for you to have those direct questions from an enterprise perspective in terms of use cases, implementation, road mapping, value realization, optimization from an enterprise space. Because at the end of the day, this program is to equip you not just from a technical side, also from a business side, so that while you're thinking as a scientist, you're also thinking as a business person, you're also thinking as an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, whatever solution you are building, whatever model you are deploying, is either from a business perspective, is it solving a problem for the enterprise, that is reducing costs, driving value, that is either helping them make money or saving costs or improving productivity, right? So leverage this as an opportunity to get more insight into how to structure your program. Feel free to ask questions, and he has shared quite a lot. So I expect you all to, have one or two questions to ask him. So you take all this knowledge back to preparing your presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Ben. We appreciate this time and the effort you've put into having this session with us. So I will leave it to Sonny to moderate for people that have questions.
Welcome, winner. Always a pleasure. So let's go with the questions. Yes.
Sonny, are you there? Okay, I think maybe he's having problem. I can, do that. I see the first person that raised his hand is Franklin. So Franklin, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Winner. And thank you very much, Sir Ben, for the presentation. I really learned a lot. I wanted to get more clarity or understanding when you mentioned that AI systems should be trained in such a way that bias is eliminated. So I wanted to ask if you can shed more light on it, on how these models are trained or evaluated in such a way that they have no bias, like what structure is being put in place to do that.
Okay. I think we'll talk about responsibility, the key principles of ethical AI. Yes. So, from day one, when we started computing, we used to say garbage in, garbage out. It's whatever you give into the computer that it produces out to you, right? So there is no the computer doesn't change things for you. But however, with AI, with AI, it has its artificial intelligence. So that's what it is. It has intelligence, it's able to model things and change things. So to eliminate biases, it's not even eliminate biases, reduce biases is what we're trying to do in AI. The data set is where the critical input comes from, right? The kind of data set that you put into those AI use cases is important. So if you're putting a data set that is inclusive. If we take a practical example, I want to understand how people shop within. I don't want to limit this to probably, let's even say Lagos. If you live in Nigeria, if you're around Nigeria, how people behave in Lagos. And I go to the mainland alone and I pull data off of the markets in mainland. And I use that to judge Lagos. That is being biased. But I want to be able to be sure that I am representing every single part of Lagos. There are 50 something local government or LCDC that they call them in Lagos. If you pull data for all of those places, the AI is intelligent enough to ensure that there is fairness within all. So it's about the data that you fed this AI. So that is where these biases are being eliminated by ensuring that you impute data that is very inclusive. That way, you've been able to, you are fair to all, because these are machines. They don't even harbor any form of individual or personal biases. It's not going to see, AI doesn't know whether you're a black man or a white man. No, it just knows the data that you fed it. So to be sure that you reduce bias and mitigate bias and ensure fairness, data that you feed into this AI tool must be inclusive, and it must include data from every part of the world. All right, that's the best way. So So imagine you are doing, you're trying to pull it, they're doing an analysis for a bank, for instance. So you pull data from their retail customers, pull data from their enterprise customers, and pull data from their corporate customers. That way, you've been able to represent the entire demographic that the bank services. So you represented that demographic that the bank services, you've been able to put in, you are sure that whatever data, whatever information the AI is giving you is fair and is less of bias. So that is the best way to reduce bias with AI. Does that help you?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Next question.
Yeah, so the next person is Henry. Henry, go ahead with your question.
So thank you.
Henry, are you there?
Thank you. I wanted to ask you.
We can't hear you, Henry. We can't hear you. Your voice is so faint.
Very much. Can you hear me now, please?
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to ask. You made mention of something like cloud computing. That you say many organizations, when they want to invest into AI, maybe due to the cost or something. So I want to ask now, if as an individual we are trying to, let's say we are working on building all this AI model and others, how do we integrate this cloud computing, since it is highly cost effective? I'm trying to ask.
Okay. So for instance, if you're trying to build a model, right, as an individual, your model is usually is going to be very small, right? So you probably will definitely you will leverage the cloud. There is no way you can build a model you can build some things on your system, but if you want to test those models, you need to build on some AI infrastructure, maybe some GPUs and all of that. So you will need to buy, but it's going to be very small. For you, there is no cost. I don't see, it's an investment that is minimal. Probably you are doing a D12 infrastructure or one server somewhere in AWS that is costing you less than $100 for a month. But imagine an enterprise with 60 million customers, and they want to roll out a model that will be able to study all of their customers and their customer behavior. Imagine the amount of infrastructure, cloud infrastructure that will host that. So I'm looking at an organization and at the scale at which they want to go. AI is not cheap. No matter what anybody says, AI is not cheap. Microsoft sells Copilot, and I know Copilot is not cheap. That is why I have said, based on the statistics and based on the research that KPMG did, they are looking at between $50 million to $250 million to be invested in AI in the next 6 months. So imagine an organization saying, I want to invest $250 million. The big question for that organization is, where is my ROI? If I invest $250 million, which return, how much do I get back? Because that's what enterprise organization does. Everything comes to naira and kobo, dollar and cents, right? Pounds and all of that. So if I put $250 million in a business, in some AI, how does it help me become more efficient? How does it help me become more customer-centric? How does it help me become more profitable? Bottom line. So these are what organizations are looking out for. So when organizations are looking out for these returns, they will look at the amount of money they want to invest. So if I put in 50 million, am I able to get 200 million in 1 year, 2 years? How does it help me? So those are the costs that is where the cost is for organizations. I gave that example. For me, talking of a use case that an organization with 60 million users is trying to do. But for you that want to build a model to be able to do that, it probably less than $100 or $20 or $50 investment you put in on maybe your portal, your AWS portal that you are using to build your model and stuff like that. So you don't need to worry so much about that cost. But organizations worry about cost and they want to see the return on the investment they are putting in. And we've been able to also show those organizations that, yes, if you're able to do this, there are new opportunities and new trends that will come in for you over the period. Does that answer you, Henry?
Okay, I believe that does.
Yeah, Franklin still has his hands
Yeah,
up. Is he a new
Franklin
one?
is a new one. Franklin, just keep your hand up, but let's move to Ayomide and Divine Peace. Then we'll come back to you. Let's give other people to a chance to ask at least one. Then we'll come back to you, Franklin. So Ayomide, please go.
Okay, good evening, sir. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah, we can
Um,
hear you.
Thank you very much for the session, Mr. Ben. Still on the fairness and bias question, I wanted to ask that, given that some data sets are often underrepresented, that certain age groups or populations are not included, specifically in the healthcare sector, what would you consider the best practice for ensuring that systems like that remains fair and unbiased across diverse groups?
Okay, so still, irrespective of the group, irrespective of where the people are, it still boils down to data set. So you cannot, if you try to manipulate that data, even you as an individual, you're feeding the AI with wrong information. So if those data sets are not available, availability of data set is important. So AI, whether we like it or not, AI trends on data. What we'll now do, or what you will now do, is you look at what data you have. What first things first, maybe let's have an interaction, Yomide, please. I like us to have an interaction on this. So let me and you have this conversation. Let's have the conversation. Let's take a very good example. Give me an example of what you're looking at, and let's see how this works out. So you're looking at healthcare. What kind of data is not available on healthcare?
So it's not that the data are not available, but they are often underrepresented because for something that has to do with patients, there are different age groups, populations, and like you mentioned, mostly we don't. I don't think we have enough data in Nigeria or in Africa at large. So mostly the Europeans are abroad overseas. Their data are everywhere. They document their stuff a lot. So most of these data sets is representing them and not representing us.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So let's tailor it. Let's tailor it to Nigeria, where we know that in country, or within the African race, our data have very misrepresentation. So where you get a misrepresentation of data, trust me, my brother, we're not going to, is what you feed in those AI that they will produce. What we a data set, that's what we do. So the first thing we do when we, in fact, I didn't put that here. Maybe when we talk about LLM, if I ever have an opportunity, when I focus on LLM, that's where we'll look at that. If we look at data, the first thing when it comes to AI is actually your data set. So we do data scrubbing, data cleansing, and data analysis before you feed them to your AI. So those are data modeling. We model this data. So when we see that this data is underrepresented or underrepresented, what we'll do is we start with scrubbing those data. We now start doing data analysis. Is this real or this not real? So there's a place where we need to either ensure that those data are clean before we feed them to this machine for training. And you don't feed an AI, you don't make decision based on a single set of training. You would train, retrain, and retrain models. So as you train them with proper data, you will see that these models improve and this model gets better at what they do. So yes, you have to actually do those data training, data cleansing, and ensure that your data is good. If they are misrepresented, what can one do is what you've got. You need to find a way to get the accurate data and feed this AI or feed this machine or feed these databases with accurate data, and then you can see good result come up from what you have given to the AI or what you actually require to be able to build a model.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
I think Divine.
All right. Yeah, Divine.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, you're audible and clear.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anyways, thank you so much for the section. So my question, I think, is quite similar to what Ayomide asked, because I think you mentioned at the beginning. I'm not on my notes here that a lot of organizations are kind of like looking for opportunities in AI and all of that. And now I've been looking at the like education sector, right? And I'm wondering why it seems like they're a bit slow, like in catching up these opportunities, because sectors like banking or finance or healthcare system kind of like integrate these opportunities like very fast, and the education system or sector just seems to be like very slow. And I really wonder why. Probably maybe it's the people that are there or something like that. Then my second question has to do with the ROI, right? I was having a call with some of my team members today, and we had like different ideas of different ways we wanted to like integrate AI into our work and all of that, but we were not able to like get a really good ROI on some of them. I just wanted to know if there's a way to like go about getting down to the ROI, like how to navigate or how to pinpoint, getting ROI on some of these sectors that seem to not have a very good ROI. I don't know if you understand. But yeah, that's my question.
Okay, let me
Thank
see if
you.
I can answer you as much as I understand. Okay,
Maybe,
the first
maybe
part is
I can. Sorry,
okay. Go ahead.
sorry. Maybe I can help reframe her question so you have a better understanding, because I understand her question and understand where she's coming from.
Okay,
So,
good.
Okay, thank you.
the first question is, why is it that the educational sector is so slow to AI adoption? That is one question. Then the second question is, let's assume you are a data scientist and you have a project idea for your organization. How do you go about figuring out return on investment, ROI, for that particular idea or for that particular experiment or for that particular project you want to carry out for your organization, considering the fact that there is also slow adoption in that particular industry? So a typical use case is, let's say you work for a university and you want to present a unique idea to that particular university, but you're finding it difficult figuring out how the university will see return on investment on that particular project you want to, see value from that, what you want to present to them, considering that they are not very agile when it comes to AI. They are not very curious also. They are not a curious organization when it comes to exploring AI and stuff like that.
Thank you, Winner, for helping out. Okay, so let's start with the first one, the education sector. Funny enough, I think last week, look, it's a new week now. Okay, about 2 weeks ago, I was presenting to a school on what the benefits of doing ITs and all of those things are. It's actually a very appalling situation. Apologies, I'm accepting that, Divine, that in this country, in part of this world where we came from, in this our country, educational systems are very slow in adopting any innovational change because of the funding that comes to them. So if it's, for instance, a federal university, you pitch an idea to a federal university and you want to execute that idea, they will look at what's going to cost them, what is going to take away from them, and what is probably going to bring to them back. So government needs to approve it. There's a whole lot of bureaucracy in approving change in our government institutions. So that is one of the reasons why some of these schools are slow in adopting AI and adopting technology. Not just AI, technology in everything. But if you go to private universities and private schools, these guys are adopting it because parents are paying for it. So it all boils down to Naira and Kobo. I'm staying because we're saying Nigeria there. So it all boils down to Naira and Kobo. So people are looking at how much they're going to invest, and how much are they going to get? For instance, if you take a school, let's say Enugu State University, apologies if you're from Enugu, I just picked that out of my head, right? Enugu State University, the state government needs to fund them. They need to go to, so this is an allocation, there will be a budget for Enugu State University in the state government funding. And then the state will now come and ask students to pay school fees. And when they pay school fees, a certain amount of that school fee needs to go to some ministry or some department or some agency. If those goes to those agencies, if that kind of funding goes to those agencies, the university doesn't have the full fledged of that money to execute business, to execute projects that they want to do. So that is where there is a problem. And that's where you are not able to actually bring out the complete ROI because of the way the schools are being run. And that's why, but the private schools, somebody who knows that, oh, if you go to Babcock University, for instance, they've adopted I have one of my friends doing a PhD there, sent me his thesis, and I was wondering, he said, yes, you're a lawyer. What is all of this you're doing with your thesis? It's all AI, IT. And he sent it to me because say, oh, I know this is your field. What do you do for me here? You get, so it's from the path where we are, where in this country, the federal schools and the government managed school, the bureaucracy of that's one of the reasons why they are slow in adopting these things. But we get there. We just need to, and if you have an idea, please do not relent. Keep pushing, keep putting it on their table, keep looking at how you will get it. And then another thing is, if you have an idea and it's institution, it's school related, how do you put out the return on your idea? You have an idea that is going to, it still boils down to who funds this university. So whosoever is funding them, how do they see this fund? How do they get these funds? If I have a direct, if I have this, your direct use case, we might be able to, we can take this offline, discuss in detail, and we can bring in, storm in head on how you can actually get a return on investment. But the first thing that matters in every use case or in every pitch that you're doing is the value. Is there a value that the university or the school will get from what you're pitching? If there is a value, itemize and articulate that value. That value, does it eliminate maybe the way somebody is doing work? Maybe if it is something to do with result, the speed at which result comes out, will this help improve I'm just using that as an example as well. So what is he going to take away? What bottleneck, what problem is he going to solve? Is he going to make the university work a lot more efficient? Is it going to make somebody in the university a lot more efficient? Is it going to make response time faster? Is there going to be a better turnaround time? All of those things are what you can quantify and put as a return on investment into that your AI use case pitch that you are bringing to the school or to the institution. For any organization that it is, for whatever. For instance, if it is meeting notes, somebody is recording this thing, and I can tell you that if you go to Teams at the end of this meeting, if you go to Teams and put transcription, it will give you the whole meeting notes, tag everybody that needs to be, that have an action on this thing, and also put every name that was mentioned and what everybody says. Before, there's a secretary that needs to sit down and write a meeting note to come and write that. You carry that thing once and send it to everybody that was on that meeting. Same time, almost immediately. That is eliminating, I'm sorry, the job of that secretary, the amount you are paying, the amount of time that secretary is meant to sit down and start writing notes, maybe jotting, will probably be taking jotting. So the work has become efficient, turnaround time has become shorter. And these are the kind of, these are ROI, these are return on investment. It's just that in this part of the world, we don't put value to money. Sorry, we don't put money to time. If I spend 1 hour doing this presentation to you, if I put that 1 hour to time, I'll tell you how much that 1 hour is being. That's how much I've earned for this 1 hour. So those are ROIs, those are return on investment. So once I can articulate the value and what is going to eliminate, that is a good return on investment. And you can pitch it to your organization or to anybody that you are talking to. Value is everything. It's just that we don't put value, we don't put money to time in this part of the world.
Thank you so much for that response. I know we are way above time. I don't know, a lot of I see Franklin's hand is still up. I don't know if you will still have time to take more questions.
Sure.
If you
don't,
don't,
let's go. I
Oh,
have
okay.
about, yeah, let's go. Now, when I'm getting out of time, I'll let you know. It's a Sunday, so this is my free time.
Okay.
Enjoy my free time. Let me spend my Sunday evening with you guys.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Franklin, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Ben, for making out time for us this Sunday. I'm still confused about. I still have some questions relating the AI ethics, the transparency and accountability.
Okay.
For example, I think it was some months ago.
Interesting topic.
I saw a post about Grok, that is Mox
Yeah. Yep.
I
GPT.
saw a
Yeah.
post, yes, I saw a post about Grok whereby Grok said something, made some negative comments about Elon Musk. So I wanted to ask, like, and also I also saw another one whereby um the AI was kind of like creating positive comments, and people were saying that like Musk is how I put it, like using the AI to favor him, something like that. So how can transparency be established in that scenario? Is it that um, like there's a particular government agency that comes to check how these AI systems are being built?
Okay. There is a regulatory agency that checks this AI. Okay. For instance, I'll tell you from Microsoft. So pardon me to use a Microsoft example. You know that most of these agents, let's call them agents, or these bots that we built are hosted on either Microsoft, Amazon, or some other cloud that we don't know. But Microsoft and Amazon and Google are actually have most hyperscalers that host these agents. So yes, if there is nobody that is going to check if you're here building a model as Franklin, right? And you put your model on the cloud, nobody's going to check your model. But until it starts acting out. Was that your media that asked the question, or Franklin? Who asked the question, please? Let me be sure.
It's Franklin.
Franklin, fantastic, because I saw his hand went down. So if you build any model, if you build a chatbot today and put it out, nobody's going to come and check what you built and put it out. But as your chatbot starts, sorry, I went on mute. Somebody muted me, just FYI. So as your chatbot went out performing its functions, people will start querying what is happening with them. People will start querying what is it. So people start reporting it. So that your AI is transparent. What we mean in that transparency is that it should do what is right. It should not be biased. That's transparent. Accountability is that when that AI does what is wrong or what is not meant to do, somebody is held responsible. Trust me, in Elon Musk's organization, even if they don't publish it, somebody must have been fired for what Grok did by making all of those negative comments. Somebody, because the data set that you give it, that was sent to it, it comes off of the data set. But sometimes I saw something recently where three AIs tools were communicating, and they went away from just normal language to encrypted languages, just to secure the environment they are interacting with. So the principle of accountability still remains that a human being must be held responsible for a bias of an AI or for an inappropriate action of an AI. That is the principle. If there is nobody that is going to, it's just because we're in this part of the world, people get arrested for some things. People either, if you're a business, most times this happens to bigger organizations and businesses. If you are a business, if people boycott your business for some form of interaction or some kind of things that you do, your AI, maybe your chatbot is doing. If people boycott your business for that, that is already an effect. That is you being held responsible. You've seen people make comments and somebody say, oh, for this reason, nobody's going to Zenith Bank or Access Bank or UBA for a period of time. Just because there was a tweet or a customer made. So those are the same way you are held accountable. It's not like any police is going to come and monitor you or hold you accountable. No, but if you put something out on the public and is doing what is not meant to do, people will flag that. And when people flag that, you will be held accountable either by people boycotting what you're doing or people holding you responsible for it in one way. And in some cases, there might even be some arrest and some, because there are policies around it globally. Yes. So you will be held accountable for it. There might be some query that you might need to answer to the government. Some of those things are with the likes of our EFCC and ICPC. Those are the kind of things they do. Okay? Yeah, Yamide, your hand is back again. You're still on these principles of AI ethics. Is my slide still up? Yeah, so I think it's here.
Yes, sir. Sorry. So I wanted to ask one final thing. Based on your vast knowledge and experience so far, what do you think is the biggest ethical mistake people make when integrating AI into reward systems, and how can early practitioners like us avoid falling into that trap?
Data privacy. Data privacy, and that's a lot I have seen within this part of the world. And data privacy leads to fraud. And I'm speaking from enterprise financial customers. Because people are building AI and they are building, you say, oh, you need to put all the data, you need to put all this, you need to put all that. People now have access to some data they are not meant to have access to. And because they see those things, they use it to commit fraud, and some banks have lost money. That's the biggest I've seen. So to avoid that, we need to now start learning how to encrypt data that we're even feeding machine learning models. So data encryption comes into place. People are now a lot more cut short of the data that is being fed to some machine language models. And when now they bring in APIs that stand between, like a middleware where you can call an API to fetch those data and all of that. So a lot is evolving in that space, and that's what I have seen in this part of in Nigeria specifically.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hugh. Seems no other questions. I hope it's been an enlightening period. I hope we've got to learn something new. I hope we've got to we have time to actually interact, and hopefully we'll see again. I know Winner has told people I'm probably going to be on another panel with you people, and then hope to meet once again. So thank you guys for your time this evening. I hope I've not bored you with, and I've overstayed we were meant to be 1 hour, but here we are, 2 hours, thereabout. And it's been a fruitful period for me as well. So thank you for your time. And for everyone who's asked questions, I hope I've been able to educate you or enlighten you better than you came to this section.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the time. This was the opportunity to have a friendly side of Mr. Ben, because I know come 6th of December, he won't be this friendly to all of you. It's straight to business, but we appreciate the time. The recording will be posted, and the deck will also be shared in the resource channel. Probably later on today or on or before Tuesday, all the resources will be shared. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And for everyone that joined, thank you for joining, and have a blessed day ahead.
Thank you all, and have a good evening. Cheers, everyone.
All right, bye-bye, everyone.